In a significant move that underscores the evolving dynamics of global finance, China's largest state banks are set to raise an impressive $71.6 billion to bolster their capital reserves. This initiative comes at a time when the country's banking sector is grappling with mounting pressures from a slowing economy and rising default rates among borrowers. Analysts view this capital infusion as crucial for enhancing the stability of these financial institutions and ensuring their capacity to absorb potential losses. This unprecedented fundraising effort is a response to the dual challenges facing China's financial sector: the need to maintain adequate capital ratios amid economic uncertainty and the imperative to support the government's broader economic recovery initiatives. The banks are expected to tap into both domestic and international markets, highlighting a willingness to engage with global investors as part of their strategy to strengthen their balance sheets. The capital raising campaign is not only vital for the banks but also serves as a barometer for investor confidence in China's economic trajectory. As the country battles to regain momentum following a protracted period of stagnation, the ability of these banks to attract investment will be closely scrutinized. It reflects a broader narrative of resilience and adaptability within China's banking system, which has historically been seen as a pillar of the nation's economic stability. In parallel, geopolitical tensions are also shaping the landscape in Asia. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's recent visit to Japan underscores the growing military cooperation between the United States and its allies in the face of an assertive China. During his meeting with Japanese Defense Minister Gen Nakatani, Hegseth reassured Tokyo of the U.S. commitment to enhancing security ties, emphasizing the establishment of a joint military command. This initiative aimed at deterring potential aggression from China highlights a strategic pivot in U.S. defense policy that seeks to strengthen alliances in the Indo-Pacific region. "Our goal is peace through strength," Hegseth stated, reinforcing the notion that the U.S. and Japan stand united against coercive actions by China. As tensions in the region escalate, this partnership is perceived as crucial for maintaining stability and countering China's military ambitions, particularly regarding Taiwan. Analysts note that Japan's increasing military expenditures coupled with U.S. support signify a significant shift in the regional security landscape as Japan moves away from its post-war pacifism. This climate of economic and military recalibration reflects broader concerns about global power dynamics. With China's ambitions expanding, the U.S. and its allies are recalibrating their strategies to address potential challenges. As Hegseth pointed out, America first does not mean America alone, encapsulating the essence of this collaborative approach to security. In conclusion, the significant capital raise by China's largest banks and the renewed military commitments between the U.S. and Japan illustrate the intertwined nature of economic and geopolitical developments. As China seeks to strengthen its financial institutions amidst economic headwinds, the U.S. and its allies are reinforcing military alliances in response to perceived threats. The coming months will be pivotal in determining how these strategies unfold and their impact on the broader Asia-Pacific region as the balance of power continues to shift in an increasingly complex global landscape. In a world increasingly defined by geopolitical tensions and shifting alliances, the United States and Japan are reinforcing their military and strategic partnership, with a clear focus on deterring the growing influence of China in the Asia-Pacific region. Recent statements from Pentagon officials underlined the importance of a shared warrior ethos between the two nations as they navigate a complex security landscape that has been significantly influenced by China's assertive foreign policy. During a recent briefing, Peter Hegseth, a prominent figure at the Pentagon, emphasized that the United States and Japan must stand shoulder to shoulder against potential threats posed by China. "We share a commitment to maintaining peace and stability in the region," Hegseth remarked, underscoring the necessity for a unified front as both countries face an increasingly unpredictable Chinese military posture. The strategic partnership is not merely about military alignment, it reflects a broader ideological commitment to democratic values and regional security. This collaboration comes at a time when China's military expansion and assertiveness in territorial disputes, particularly in the South China Sea, have raised alarm bells across neighboring countries. The U.S. has responded with enhanced military presence in the region, conducting joint exercises with Japanese forces to bolster readiness and demonstrate solidarity. Hegseth's comments resonate with a growing consensus among U.S. allies in the region who view China's actions as a direct challenge to the established international order. The implications of this partnership extend beyond military cooperation. Analysts argue that the U.S. Japan alliance serves as a bulwark against the encroachment of authoritarian regimes, particularly as China's influence continues to expand economically and politically. In this context, Hegseth's assertion of a warrior ethos signals a commitment to not only counter military threats but also to uphold shared democratic values against the backdrop of rising ultranationalism and populism. As the geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, the partnership between the U.S. and Japan will likely play a crucial role in shaping the future of regional security. The focus on a shared ethos reflects a recognition that the challenges posed by China are not solely military in nature but involve a broader ideological struggle. The strategies employed by both nations will need to adapt to the changing dynamics, particularly as they engage with other regional players like Australia and India, who also share concerns regarding China's assertive posture. Looking ahead, the effectiveness of the U.S.-Japan alliance will hinge on their ability to maintain cohesion in the face of internal and external pressures. As tensions rise, both nations will need to navigate the delicate balance of deterrence while fostering diplomatic channels with China to prevent miscalculations that could escalate into conflict. The coming months will be critical in assessing how this alliance evolves and how it shapes the broader narrative of international relations in an increasingly multipolar world. As China's economy navigates a complex landscape of challenges, including a significant downturn in the property market and deflationary pressures, some analysts have begun drawing parallels to Japan's economic stagnation in the 1990s. This framework, often referred to as Japanification, suggests a prolonged period of slow growth and low inflation characterized by a collapsing asset market. However, recent analyses indicate that while China faces severe economic headwinds, the situation does not equate to Japan's historic malaise. During the recent China Development Forum, Premier Li Qiang addressed these concerns, emphasizing the government's commitment to driving economic stability and growth. "We are focused on fostering a robust economic environment that can adapt to both domestic and international challenges," Li stated. His remarks came at a time when the country's property market activity had plummeted, prices across various sectors were in decline, and interest rates were at historically low levels. Despite these troubling indicators, experts argue that China's economic fundamentals differ significantly from those of Japan in the 1990s. For instance, while Japan struggled with an aging population and systemic issues in its banking sector, China continues to benefit from a young workforce and ongoing urbanization. Moreover, the Chinese government has substantial tools at its disposal, such as fiscal stimulus and monetary policy adjustments, to counteract economic stagnation. In a testament to this proactive approach, the Chinese Finance Ministry recently announced a substantial capital injection of 500 billion yuan, approximately $69 billion, into 4 state-owned banks. This strategic move aims to bolster the financial sector and support economic growth amid increasing challenges like rising bad debts and shrinking profit margins. The Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Bank of Communications, and Postal Savings Bank will each raise additional funds through private share placements, with the Finance Ministry as the primary investor. This initiative is seen as crucial for maintaining financial stability and meeting the government's growth target of 5% for 2025. The economic sentiment surrounding China has also drawn attention from prominent investors. David Tepper, founder of Appaloosa Management LP, has been vocal about his belief in the potential resurgence of the Chinese economy. In recent interviews, Tepper has advocated for significant investments in Chinese equities despite ongoing trade tensions with the United States. Everything. ETFs. I would do futures, everything. Everything, he remarked when discussing his investment strategy focused on China. As Tepper's bullish stance on Chinese stocks aligns with the recent uptick in market performance following government stimulus measures, analysts suggest that there is potential for a turnaround. China's economy recorded a surprising 5.4% growth in the fourth quarter of 2024, exceeding expectations due to these proactive fiscal policies. Investors are eagerly awaiting further details on government support for struggling sectors, particularly real estate and consumer demand. However, the broader economic climate remains precarious as the U.S. grapples with its own financial challenges, including trade wars and a hesitant Federal Reserve. The S&P 500 has already experienced a nearly 3% decline in value this quarter, marking its first quarterly drop since July 2023. This volatility underscores the interconnectedness of global markets and the potential ripple effects of China's economic trajectory. In conclusion, while fears of Japanification loom large in discussions about China's economic future, the government's decisive actions and the resilience of its market suggest a different outcome may be on the horizon. As China strives to stabilize its economy and navigate both domestic and international challenges, the coming months will be critical in determining whether the country can sustain its growth momentum or if it will succumb to a prolonged period of stagnation akin to Japan's past. Investors and policymakers alike are keenly observing these developments, which will undoubtedly shape the global economic landscape in the years to come. In a pivotal moment for U.S. Defense Strategy, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has made clear the Biden administration's commitment to strengthening military alliances in Asia, particularly with Japan, in the face of an increasingly assertive China. Hegseth's recent visit to Tokyo, where he met with Japanese defense officials, underscored a renewed focus on security cooperation and military readiness in the region. During his 85-minute meeting with Japan's Defense Minister Gen Nakatani, Hegseth reiterated the U.S. commitment to enhancing military collaboration, stating, "America first does not mean America alone." He emphasized the need for a robust partnership to counter aggressive actions from China, particularly regarding Taiwan, a self-governing island that Beijing claims as its territory. This visit comes at a time of heightened anxiety in Japan, which has observed recent geopolitical shifts, including the U.S. administration's outreach to Russia amid the Ukraine crisis. Japanese officials have expressed concerns that such movements might embolden China to escalate its ambitions in the region. Hegseth's discussions included plans to expedite the establishment of a joint U.S. Japan military command, referred to as a warfighting headquarters, aimed at improving coordination during crises. Although a timeline for operational readiness was not provided, the initiative represents a significant step toward bolstering regional defense capabilities. The commitment to increase joint military exercises, particularly in the Okinawa Islands, further highlights the U.S. strategy of deterrence. The Secretary's visit to Iwo Jima, a historic battleground from World War II, served as a poignant reminder of the evolving relationship between the U.S. and Japan, transitioning from wartime adversaries to strategic allies. The symbolism of this visit was not lost on Japanese officials, who view the current security environment as one of the most precarious since 1945. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has long advocated for a more proactive Japanese military posture, aligning closely with Hegseth's vision of mutual defense. In a related development, a recently leaked Pentagon memo has outlined a strategic pivot towards Taiwan, emphasizing the need for a denial defense approach to prevent a potential Chinese invasion. This document, known as the Interim National Defense Strategic Guidance, indicates that the U.S. will enhance its military presence in the Indo-Pacific region, focusing on uncrewed ships, submarines, and other advanced defense systems. The memo calls for Taiwan to increase its own defense spending significantly, reflecting a broader shift in U.S. military priorities that places China at the forefront of national security concerns. Experts have noted that this shift represents a reverse Nixon strategy, prioritizing Asia over Europe to counter China's growing influence. The memo's assertion that China is the U.S. Department of Defense's sole pacing threat underscores the gravity of the situation. As the U.S. seeks to recalibrate its military deployments to respond effectively to challenges in the region, As the U.S. solidifies its alliances and recalibrates its military strategies, the implications for Taiwan, Japan, and the broader Indo-Pacific region are profound. With increasing military collaboration, both Japan and Taiwan may enhance their capabilities to deter Chinese aggression, fostering a more stable security landscape in the face of rising tensions. The coming months will be critical in determining how these strategies are implemented and the long-term impacts on U.S.-China relations. As defense commitments solidify, all eyes will be on how China responds to this heightened military readiness and whether it will recalibrate its own strategies in light of these developments. In recent months, the diplomatic landscape in East Asia has been marked by significant realignments, particularly concerning China, India, and Taiwan. As China continues to assert its influence in the region, both India and Taiwan have begun to recalibrate their foreign policies in response to growing tensions and strategic threats. This shift highlights the evolving geopolitical dynamics in the Indo-Pacific, where nations are increasingly recognizing the need for cooperative frameworks to address common challenges. China's assertiveness has been acutely felt by its neighbors, notably India, where a long-standing border dispute has escalated into a series of confrontations. Since 2007, China has adopted a more aggressive stance, particularly evident during the 2020 clashes that marked the first significant military engagement between the two countries in decades. The situation has been further complicated by China's Belt and Road Initiative, specifically the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which India views as a violation of its sovereignty as it runs through contested territories in Kashmir. In light of these developments, India has strategically moved closer to Taiwan, recognizing a mutual interest in countering China's expansionist policies. Although India maintains a one-China policy and lacks formal diplomatic ties with Taiwan, the two have cultivated a burgeoning partnership driven by a shared perception of the Chinese threat. This convergence has led to collaborative efforts aimed at fostering economic ties and enhancing regional stability. Recent diplomatic engagements underscore this emerging partnership. Following Prime Minister Narendra Modi's re-election in June 2024, Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te expressed a desire for closer economic collaboration, aligning with Modi's vision for enhanced technological ties. Notably, the inauguration of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in Mumbai, functioning as a de facto consulate, marked a significant step in formalizing relations between the two nations. India's growing engagement with Taiwan is reflected in burgeoning trade, which reached a record $10.6 billion in 2024, up from $8.2 billion in 2023. The business relationship between India and Taiwan has witnessed remarkable growth, with significant investments from Taiwanese companies in sectors such as electronics and information technology. For instance, Tata Electronics has partnered with Taiwan's Powerchip Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation to establish India's first AI-enabled semiconductor manufacturing facility in Gujarat, a critical move to bolster India's semiconductor ambitions. The foundation of the India-Taiwan partnership is not only economic but also rooted in shared strategic objectives. Both nations aim to create alternative supply chains that can withstand the pressures of geopolitical disruptions. Their collaboration is expected to evolve further, focusing on scientific and technological cooperation as both countries recognize the necessity of building resilient high-tech supply chains. However, this burgeoning relationship is not without challenges. There are concerns that the strengthening ties are primarily a reaction to the geopolitical pressures exerted by China, rather than a sustainable long-term partnership. Historical apprehensions linger in India regarding the potential repercussions of deepening ties with Taiwan, especially in relation to India-China dynamics. China's response to India-Taiwan relations has been predictably critical, emphasizing its disapproval of any moves that could be perceived as undermining its sovereignty. As both India and Taiwan navigate this complex landscape, the need for grassroots initiatives to foster people-to-people connections becomes increasingly important. Strengthening ties through cultural, educational, and societal exchanges will be crucial in solidifying the partnership beyond mere diplomatic rhetoric. Looking ahead, the India-Taiwan relationship appears poised for further development driven by shared interests and strategic necessities. As both countries confront the challenges posed by China, their collaboration will likely become a vital component of regional stability in the Indo-Pacific. The trajectory of this partnership will depend on the ability of both nations to transcend historical apprehensions and focus on mutual benefits, setting the stage for a more integrated and cooperative approach in the face of an evolving geopolitical landscape.